主殿の危機と耳にし馳せ参じました。千歳は切ります。新メインストーリー追加決定です。
Alright, Stella Sora's half anniversary is coming soon. Honestly, this is one of the biggest updates we had so far. We are getting a new Umbra versatile character, Otoha. She is also the second limited unit in the game. Chitose is coming back with a rerun, along with 2 new skins for Chitose and Nasuna. There is also main story update, Otoha's event story, and Caramel story. On top of that, Summit Show is returning with a new boss, Firefly, with Umbra weakness. And Roniwa is also coming back in a final echoing, this time with acquired Umbra weaknesses. We are also getting new events, Silverwell Dream Catcher, the Elemental card game, a new season of Cataclysm with Umbra, Aqua, and Ventus weaknesses, a new Onsen date spot, an Ignis tutorial team, shop updates, and 2 login events giving around 20 pulls for Otoha, plus other materials like a new item, drop of purity, and half anniversary disc. So yeah, there's already a lot of stuff, but the real value of this update isn't just content, it is the system changes, so let's get into that. Starting with Ascension, we are getting difficulty 8, and also increases the chance of certain events appearing. More coins mean more access to potentials and nodes, which directly improves how strong your final record can be. Now the event rate up is still unclear. We don't really know which events and the actual rates, so that's something we have to test ourselves. But honestly, this part isn't the main highlight of this update. The real change is the monolith research nodes. First one, Sacred Resonance. If your main character matches the tower element, you only get elemental nodes of that element. Right now, you're running something like Aqua and Ventus Tower. You can get both elements as rewards or in the shop, which can completely mess up your build. But with this node, if your main character is Chitose for example, you only see Aqua nodes, and the final record will be much more consistent and much less RNG. Next, Proliferation of Desire. You get more journey tickets in each run. Very simple, no explanation needed here. Now for this one, Equitable Greed. This basically fixes the upgrade machine problem. Right now, when the potential boost triggers, each potential consumes a trigger individually, so if upgrades appear on all 3 of them, you lose 3 triggers immediately, whether you pick them or not. But with this node, 1 trigger applies to all 3 potentials, and you're basically guaranteed 5 upgrades across the run. And then the biggest one, Deferred Cost. This completely changed how you approach Ascension. Currently, effects like Butterfly Insight and Radiant Miracle, which make new pots start at level 2 and level 3 respectively. They would consume trigger counts even if you didn't pick the potential. So normally, if your early rolls were bad, you just reset the whole run until they are good enough. Now with the update, the trigger counts are only consumed when you actually pick the potential, which means you can technically keep rerolling until you get exactly what you want. And this makes it possible to consistently get 10 new potentials at level 3. When you combine Deferred Cost with Equity Greed, you are looking at around 35 guaranteed levels and at least 25 total potentials in a single run. And that is a massive shift. Ascension is going from RNG heavy to something much more controlled and can be optimized. But this is based on official translation, which doesn't always have the best track record, so you need to test all of this in the game to actually confirm it. For the next one, they are finally adding potential presets, which are much needed for casuals. You can set your desired potentials and expected levels, save it as a preset, and follow it during your Ascension runs. Not only that, you can also generate a preset code to share it with other players, and even view records from leaderboard players and import their presets as your own, which basically means top players' records are now fully transparent. So no more guessing, no more gaming chat scores. There is also a record filters and other quality of life updates, but we will need the full patch to see the details. Now for emblems, you can use a new material, drop of purity, to upgrade a stat by 1 tier, for example from Golden Pen to Rainbow Pen. but there is a limit of 2 upgrades per emblem, and you need to reforge to reset it. This new item can be obtained from limited events, login event, and in-game shop. So it's pretty rare, and you don't want to waste this and only use it on rare stats. And finally, Chitose. She's getting multiple buffs. Tremble and Fall now give 5 stacks of Edge, a new buff that boosts her auto attack damage. Dance of Elegance now buffs acquire damage on the last hit of her auto attack. Returning Tide is easier to trigger, just hit elite or higher enemies. And Adamant Scales can now trigger from her main skill, which is actually a big deal. Overall, these are solid buffs, and she should be much closer to post-haste team now. The only unclear part is Dance of Elegance. The wording suggests the buff might expire after one attack, which would be a big change from how it currently works, so we'll have to wait for the update and test that. Overall, this is a solid update, not just content, but actual system improvements that make the games less frustrating and more consistent. And more importantly, it shows the devs are actually listening. Now for my plan going forward. First, I will need to update all character guides because the Ascension update increases how many potentials we get in a single run. The priority will be Umbra, Aqua, and Ventus, since they are most relevant in the next update. Then I will expand my coverage to Lux, as the next character after Otoha should be Lux based on the banner pattern. For Otoha, I will do at least 2 showcases. First, a record from difficulty 7 on release day, so we can compare the score with current teams. Then a fully optimized record later, once we understand the limits of difficulty 8. And about the Ascension guide, I mentioned before that I would make one if nothing changed, since I could just work off what I already know. But now that this is a pretty big change, this update actually makes Ascension a lot more consistent and less random, which should be easier to optimize. So if I can figure out a solid strat for it, then yeah, I will make one. And that's pretty much for this update. If you found this useful, feel free to leave a like, it helps the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, subscribe and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
主殿の危機と耳にし馳せ参じました。千歳は切ります。新メインストーリー追加決定。